on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN.
I'm about to be interviewed on W4WN.com radio. So tune in. I like to broadcast live just in case you missed it. It's going to be great. Stay tuned. Listen to the advertisements. I got to set the show up.
Welcome back to the Necklace Soul Radio Show, and this is your host, QT, and we are live right here at W4WN. And so, this morning, for those of you that heard the show, it was just awesome. We had Dr. Maxwell Naughty and Dr. Charlie Albert on as a follow-up from last week's show, because we had so many questions, and I had went out and did an interview with all my friends and asked them what kind of pain that they was in, kind of questions that they would like to have answered for themselves. So we had an awesome, dynamic show this morning, but this one is special. I wanted to do this show because for the last week or so, that's how all of this started. I was online looking for Dr. Pookrum, and I came across Coach Khayr, and they call him Coach K. And I in the last couple of weeks, he has on one of his websites, Relaxation is the Key. He has about 45 videos on that page that talks about all kinds of subjects. And so far, I think I have listened to maybe about 10 or 15 of the shows. Some of them I've listened to 3 times. And I just think the work that he's doing out there is awesome. But the one that I was the most fascinated by was moon magic. I've always been a student of metaphysics. I've always been, have been on this journey and wanted to know how I connected with the universe and the effect that it has on me and my daily lives. And since I'm one of those kind of people that love to, I set goals, I understand the process of manifesting your dreams in life, but sometimes I run up against, it seems like it doesn't work. So, some days you get up and just nothing works. And when I was listening to one of his interviews on the moon magic video that he talks about how sometimes we don't always, we do the right thing, but it might not be at the right time. And it reminded me when I was growing up, my mama used to whip me, and at the time I thought it was for nothing. And when I was 40 years old, I called her up one day, because I was still mad about some of them whippings and stuff. I called her up one day, and I said, "You remember that time you whipped me because I went fishing with, Perthina, and I didn't do nothing. I just went with them." She said, "Yeah, but in life you got to understand the timing on your actions. And I didn't whip you for going with them. I whipped you for the principle of what could have happened." So I missed all of that because I was still in pain. But later on, I got that. So sometimes you can have the best intentions, but it might not be the timing. The timing might not be right on what our goals and dreams and desire are about. And so I invited this brother to come in and share his knowledge, his secret about moon magic and how we can take advantage of this universal force that we have available to us to help us to manifest our dreams. Most of the people that I come in contact with, we are goal achievers. We know how to, we set goals. We want a bigger life. And so I think it would benefit us and enhance our dreams and goals to know how can we take advantage of his secrets and knowing and understand the different phases of the moon and the energy that it has available to us to help us manifest our goals. So Coach K, thank you so much for coming aboard. And for those of you that are listening to the show, this special show, the Coach Khayr, am I saying that right?
Khayr.
Khayr.
Yes, ma'am.
He is the CEO and executive master trainer. He's a super entrepreneur, martial artist. He's a spiritual love and relationship coach. He's an occupational health and corporate wellness expert. He's an astrologer. And so we're going to listen to what this brother has to say today. And then after that, we're going to all find out how we can use moon magic in our life. And with that, welcome to the Naked Soul Radio Show. And the whole purpose of Naked Soul Radio Show is to move you back to your original self, your original wholeness, so you can be happy, healthy, and addiction free. So welcome to the Naked Soul Radio Show. So tell us a little something else about yourself that I missed.
Oh man. First off, I'm just honored to be here, and thank you for all the accolades. It is very humbling. I definitely appreciate it. I really can't take any credit for that. The hard work was due to I had some great coaches in my life. I had some great mentors, and I have sat at the feet of some very wise men and very wise women who have bestowed upon me, as the phrase goes, to whom much is given, much is required. So I really have to just give all honors to the Creator, those that came before me, those that have influenced me, and even the little guy, even the little guy in the past, or the little gal in the passing, who gave me some wisdom, who, as we use the term namaste, the God in me recognizes the God in you. I recognize that God can communicate with me at any time in order to impart a message to me or an assignment. Because I think most of God's messages, he's not just saying, I'm going to communicate with you just so I can give you a message. I'm going to give you an assignment. And if I do my due diligence enough to carry out that assignment, he will always be rewarding me. And it's just been such a pleasure for me to just be in certain situations where I have manifested, like I said, being a mentee or a disciple of some really, really great people. And it's like I said, and now I'm here. I just look back at the long journey and I say, wow. And then I look ahead and I say, wow, what else can I do using these systems that these masters have given me, and things that I have learned along the way through my own personal experience. Because one thing about a system that anyone shares with you, it is no good if you do not put in the work to experience it. Like, for instance, you have me on today to talk about my Moon Magic program. So I want to use two really classic cases. So I was in Los Angeles this weekend with I was doing some things. I went to a workshop in Vegas, and one of my clients was in Los Angeles, and she said, let's have lunch. And she said, let's go to the Gratitude Cafe. It's right off of Wilshire Boulevard. And I was like, wow, Gratitude Cafe. Because that's one of the secrets of what I do is gratitude determines your altitude. And she said, I'm so excited. Don't go anywhere. Because she was running behind. She got stuck in traffic. I got something to tell you. And so she gets there. And I had never met her. I had met her like personally one time at the workshop in Vegas, but I helped so many people in Moon Magic over the last 5 years from all walks of life. I've had people who have been homeless, who have moved into apartments or gotten their own houses. I have helped people get their PhDs. I've helped people get in their ideal relationships. I'm on the way to a wedding this weekend in Miami from someone who said they wanted to get married, and they used the system. And I was like, but it's just so varied, the background, but we're all using the same system. And I always say success is not a secret, it's a system, but you have to work it. So I get there, and she told me she was a celebrity chef. And I was like, oh, and so many people talk in the now that, that's what they want to do. So I say, speak in the now. And so she said, no, I'm a celebrity chef. And so when she pulled up in the big Range Rover with the big rims on it, shining. I was like, oh man. I was like, wow, I love to see when my clients shine. I want to see all my clients pull up in Mercedes and or whatever their dream car is. And so when she pulled up in the Land Rover, I ran out there to open the door for her and, reach out my hand so she could step down. And, it was just great seeing her. She said, I got to tell you what just happened. She says, a new client just called me. She says, first off, my girlfriend says, have you ever heard of moon magic? And she was like, girl, that's how I just got this new client. And I said, what new client? She said, well, he's an investor and he asked me what would be the salary for me to come and cook for him for 12 months, like to be his personal chef. He doesn't want me to chef for anybody else, just for him and his 7 bodyguards. She said she thought about it for a second and she said, $250,000. He replied and said, I was thinking 300,000. She says, I'll take it. And so I'm just looking, I'm just like, you are using my system? She says, all day, every day. And I say, the joy in my heart from that scenario. He hit her with an email while she was sitting beside me and says, in 90 days, I want to renegotiate because I know I'm going to want to keep you longer than 12 months. I know I want to keep you longer. I'm going to relocate you to the guest house here in Arizona, and I'm going to give you a company car or a driver so you can give your Range Rover to your daughter.
Oh, okay.
So I said, look how all this works, because the premise of moon magic is you get what you want or something far greater. You get what you want or something far greater. Now, on the other hand, I have another client. Moon magic is time sensitive. Every 3.5 to 4 days, you receive an email from me. All you have to do is read the email. That takes about 20 seconds. Click the link. That takes 1 second. The link is going to take you to a private member area. That takes about 3 or 4 seconds, depending on how fast your computer is running. So now we're all in 1 minute now. This is all you have to do to participate. And then in the private member area is where the magic happens. I have the instructional videos up, but you get a different video every 3.5 to 4 days. I have an instructional and motivational audio that you listen to that aligns you with that particular phase of the moon, because there are 8 phases of the moon. So every time the moon phase moves, I send you the email to let you know what to do next, because it's all about sequence of events. It's all about sequence of events. My fingers are buzzing right now as I'm talking about this story. And a client calls me and she says, Khayr, I want to apologize. One of the videos you put up, it's not there anymore. When are you going to put that video back up? I said, what? I said, I'm not going to put it back up until next cycle. She says, well, I didn't get a chance to look at it. I said, well, how are things going this month for you? She says, I'm so behind. And you have a great program, but it's just not working right now. I said, did you get the email I just sent yesterday? No, I haven't opened it yet. So now we have 2 very different type of individuals. One who is working it and writing it till the wheels fall off, as Martin Lawrence says. And then we have another one she feels that I can do it whenever I get to it. And what I had told her at that moment was, you don't have this as a priority. You must have your success as a priority, and then implement the system as a priority with passion, and then you're going to get the results that you want, even far greater. And that's just a little story of the extremes of 2, of the same example. These both people are getting the exact same email, Arbor. They're getting the exact same program. So when she said, when the first one said, it's not, I said, hey, you're not working it. Because I have stories like this on the success side, I could just talk about for days and days and days. So was I easy on her? I'm not an easy coach. I keep it really, really blunt. I'm radically honest. I get right to the point, and sometimes people call me like a baby drill sergeant. I only have to bring that out when you're not getting the most for what you are paying for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't waste your money. Don't come and say, I'm going to sign up for something and then think it's a lottery. Like, I'm going to wave my magic wand and then things are going to start happening in your life. That is not what moon magic is about. It is a system that uses the 8 cycles of the moon on a time-sensitive basis to align you back with Mother Nature. Remember when the Native Americans used to tell stories and they would say, many moons ago? Do you remember that?
Right, I remember that.
That is exactly what we have to align back up with. Every food, every morsel of food, vegetarian, meat eater, vegan, it does not matter. Every morsel of food that you have ever put in your mouth has been grown by a farmer who's using the cycles of the moon.
I remember I grew up in the South, and you didn't plant corn, sweet potatoes, peanuts. You had a certain time that you put the seed in the ground. You couldn't just run out there on a hot summer day and drop the seed in the ground. You know, you have to know the cycle and the phase of the moon as to when to put that seed in the ground. So I'm following you. I'm with you on that.
You know that the tides of the ocean, you know, when you go to the ocean, there's a high or low tide. What influences the high and the low tide? The moon. The moon. When a woman has her menses, she can almost set her clock by it. She calls it my moon cycle. So we have one of the most powerful planets or elemental bodies that's close to the earth that has an influence on us for millions and millions of years. And all we have to do is align ourselves with it. And I've been using this system for a little over 5 years. I've had thousands of clients come through the system, and I use it every month in my own personal life because the problem with people, Arbor, is they want to eat the whole elephant in one bite.
Right.
And they never can focus on something long enough for the law of attraction to work for them. See, the law of attraction is working all the time. If you don't focus, the law of attraction will give you unfocused results. But if you can just hold on to a thought, if you can just hold on to a thought in the frontal lobe of the brain, Jewel Pookrum, who you mentioned in the show earlier today, Jewel Pookrum says the frontal lobe of the brain is your own personal movie theater. If you can watch this movie that you have designed and crafted like a mind movie for 28 days, the universe must deliver it to you. I'm not saying as an option, it must deliver it to you. I mean, and it's going to come through. Here's the best part. It's going to come through with bonuses. It's going to come through with bells on. It's going to come through with something far, far, far greater. I had a woman one time, she said, I want a new apartment and I want a new car. And at the end of the 28 days, the last phase is the celebrating phase. And so we have a conference call and I said, okay, everybody tell me what you have to celebrate. Brag about your accomplishments. She says, I didn't get my car. I didn't get the apartment because I got something far greater. I said, far greater than a new car and a new apartment? She said, yes. I said, what is it? She says, I found peace and happiness.
Oh, okay.
She says, it's been 30 years since I've really been at peace and been happy. And maybe the middle of the program, I caught on to being happy all the time. And I decided that the car and the apartment weren't important. She says the car and the apartment are not important anymore. I said, what? She said, I can get that anytime, Khayr. She says, I have been sacrificing my own happiness and my own joy. She says, I'll get the car and the apartment next month. This is a much better feeling. She says, I've had cars before. I've had apartments. She says, as a matter of fact, I got approved for the apartment, but I was so happy, I didn't even go over there and take them the deposit. So, and see, that's why Moon Magic, even though it's a system, is customizable to everyone, every individual who joins. So what you want doesn't have to line up with what Tommy Smith wants or Raheem wants or Sister Khadijah wants. Your job is to follow the system and focus on what it is that you want. And one of the keys that makes this work is peace and planning. Do you know how many people are stressed out in this world, Arbor, every day about this, that, and the other?
I know everybody's stressed out, you know, including myself sometimes, but I've learned some tips on how to, you know, de-stress myself, you know.
Right. But
everybody's stressed out now.
The Bible says, lean not on your own understanding. Mm-hmm. So I created Moon Magic 28, incorporated from things that I have learned over the last 10 years and put this into a system that stresses peace as the foundation. Peace is the foundation. At the beginning of the cycle, that is the number one thing that's stressed as we plan what we want. I really want to give people the 8 phases. Because everybody goes through them, and I want to just quickly explain really quick, like 10 seconds on each one. And we're going to go through it like a farmer, because you said you're from the South, right?
I'm from the South, yeah, so I understand.
Oh, you're going to love this. You're going to love this, because when a farmer is about to make his decision on what he's going to plant, one of the things he's got to think about, Arbor, is taking his crops to the market when they're finished, right? Mm-hmm. He's going to use some of them for food, but on a big farm, let's just say on a cotton or tobacco farm, he's not going to eat no cotton or tobacco. He's going to what? Sell it to take care of his family, right?
Right.
So in the beginning, he's thinking all the way through the end, and a lot of people don't think that far. So I'm going to give you the 8 phases of how this farmer takes care of his family. So phase 1 is the planning phase. And we spend 3.5 days on just coming up with what you want. What are the 2 things that you want in the next 28 days? That's it. You can't send me 4 things or 5 things. You can only pick 2 things. One of them is internal, one of them is external. The next phase is the planting phase. So the farmer planned what he wanted. He knew how many seeds he needed. He knew how much acreage he had, and he envisioned what he wanted. Now, the next phase was the planting phase. He went out there and planted the seeds. We plant those 2 images through meditation. The second phase, those next 3.5 to 4 days, is all about meditating and getting connected to what your ideal situation is. What is it that you want to manifest? You need to meditate on it. And this is when we call getting the universe pregnant. When a woman gets pregnant, she's very attached to the child that's growing inside of her. So the second phase is very important. When the farmer puts these seeds in the ground, it's very important that he does what? Plant them deep. Plant them deep in fertile soil so they will grow. It's ensured after that. The next phase, number 3, is the clearing phase. When you put a seed in the ground, the birds want to eat it because it's a fat, juicy seed. That's what they make scarecrows for. The crow says, wait a minute, if this farmer took this much time to put that juicy seed down there, he put a carrot in the ground, he put some cabbage in the ground, he put some corn, I'm going to get that seed. I'm not going to be digging in trash cans no more. And that's what life sends to us. Life sends birds to us to distract us and dig up the seeds that we planted. So now we've been holding on to an idea for 1 week, and all of a sudden here comes some distractions, or what we call things we need to clear out. And I have an entire system and rituals for people to participate in at home, in the privacy of their own homes, of how to remove these obstacles and scare away those crows. After the clearing phase, phase 4 comes in, and now we start to use universal principles. The universe cannot stand a void. Wherever there's an empty space, the universe wants to fill it. And so when we cleared out and made the space empty, what happened next? They say April showers bring May flowers. Now the gathering phase is the fourth phase. When the gathering phase comes along, this is when all the raw materials start to come to you. This is when the magic really begins to start happening. At phase 4, Arbor, the gathering. So many things start happening and coming to you. Sometimes you think that you've already manifested your goal. And I say, no, just hold on. There's more coming. I have a lot of people in the gathering phase say, I got it. I got that $1,000 I wanted. I got this. I got that. I say, it's not over. It's not over. Just keep on going. Keep on driving. Just put that in your buggy and keep on pushing down the road. That's the gathering phase. Because it was rough during the clearing phase. It's kind of depressing. We cry. We have to get rid of some, like you said about your mother. We have to forgive some people. We have to forgive ourselves. And that phase is so critical because that's normally what's holding us up from manifesting in our lives is something detrimental and it's just holding us back. So after the gathering phase, phase 5 is what we call the seeing phase. This is when you see the plants just start to come through the ground. Remember when you look out there and you say, when are they going to start growing, Paw? And all of a sudden you see just a little bit of the green come out of the earth. You remember that?
I remember that, yeah.
And now you say, oh, shucks, now we got something. And now you can see the rows. You can see the precision that the farmer planted because they're all lined up. It's not ready to eat yet, but you can see it. You go out there and look and you start to see, wow, look at this. It's been watered. It's been getting sunshine. It was planted in the right soil. And now I'm getting my first evidence that it's on the way. So now here we are at the phase 5. I start to see with new eyes. I start to see the beginning of this, of the crops coming up. They're not ready to eat yet. Then the next phase after the seeing phase is phase 6. We call this the leading phase. You know what the farmer does here? He starts to get on the phone and call people and say, I got those cabbages coming. I got them watermelons coming. I got them collard greens coming. Now I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm about to negotiate with you because this is the leading phase. This is the leading phase where it's 90% administration and 10% work. So you're still not really doing anything because your crops are still growing, but they're growing like Jack and the Beanstalks. So you have to say, hey, I'll tell you what, I cut a deal with you, Arbor. If you go ahead and buy a half an acre of these watermelons, I'll give them to you for this price, which is considerably cheaper. Or you may say, Arbor, I need you to fix my wagon or fix my transfer truck so I can get these watermelons out of the field next week and take them to market. This is when you do all the administrative work to make sure that your goals are aligned up because now you see what it is that you want. And now it's time to start lining people up and putting them and giving them instructions. A lot of people have weak leadership skills and they don't know how to delegate. So you learn that in Moon Magic when you get to phase number 6. And then after phase 6, this is crazy too. Well, it's not crazy. But today is the first day of phase 7 because phase 7 happens on the full moon. And that's today. And it's called the doing phase. And this is when everybody goes out into the field and we start to harvest. This is like the beginning of the money phase because you see all these watermelons. You see these big leaves on the collard plant. You see all of the stuff right there and you go out there and do it. Let's say you wanted to get the apartment or you want to get the car. This is when you go to the car lot and say, I want that car, give it to me. I want this apartment, give it to me. This is when you want to go out on a date with with the love of your life. You go and say, where you go? No, you're going out on a date with me. Because remember, in the leading phase, you already set the date up. But now in the doing phase, the full moon, the moon is full of power and is coming and saying, what do you want? And it's time for you to do, like Nike said, just do it. And that's where we're at today. For the next 4 days, we're into the doing phase. Now, a lot of people, this is another important facet about moon magic is people only use 2 phases of the moon. They think about the new moon, and they think about the full moon. Well, that's 2 out of 8. That means you're only using 25% of your power. Moon magic lets you use 100% of the moon. Because what do you do in between the new moon and the full? What do you do between the full and the new to keep it going? I've seen so many people on social media saying, this is what I'm going to do on the new moon. This is what I'm going to do on the full moon. And they're really like a half an inch off. And a half an inch off can cost you in the long run. They're getting a little result, but they don't know why they're not getting the full results. It's because you're not doing things at the right thing at the right time. Is it the right thing to do, that make a new intention or to fast and things like that? Yes, but you're doing it at the wrong time. You're not supposed to fast on a full moon. You're supposed to fast on a new moon. You're not supposed to start your plans on the new moon. You're supposed to start the plans before the new moon. So when the new moon comes, you know what to do there and know the proper, we have something called the dumping ritual that we do to remove the scarecrows. But then after we finish with the doing phase, where we're at right now, it's all about action. And you scheduled me to come on your show during the doing phase. I've been busy all morning. As soon as I finish this show, I have tons of things to do today. I got a post office, a tuxedo to pick up, business cards. I got to check in for a flight to Miami tomorrow. And this is how I want it to be. This is the busiest time of the month, and I make most of my money here. I'm going to like a big networking event with some really, really important people this weekend down in Miami. And guess what? I know what to do because I know what time it is. I know what phase of the moon is influencing my actions, so I'll be successful. And I've been setting this up for 3 weeks. Ever since February the 10th was the beginning of the moon cycle. February the 10th was the beginning. So we don't start at the beginning of the calendar. We start, I know how to gauge the moon, so we start every 28 days. So February 10th was when I put this plan into motion, and now it's coming into fruition right now. And then the last phase, the 8th phase, we call it the using phase, or the celebrating phase, or the thump your chest phase, or the bragging phase. This is when we start popping the champagne, Abra. I'm sorry. We start popping the champagne because, see, one thing about people is they get so full of stress and negativity and anxiety, they do not know when to celebrate and show the universe what I appreciate you for. This is the phase where you go into the store and you buy 5 lottery tickets and you don't win, and the person behind you buys the 6th lottery ticket that you were going to buy, and they win $5,000. You know what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to turn around and jump up and down like you won.
And be happy for them.
And be happy for them because the moon is watching. If nobody takes anything away from what I'm saying today, I want them to know that the moon is watching your actions every single second. And if you align yourself with the proper action, with the proper energy that the moon is giving, you will be guaranteed success. So now you may celebrate for them winning $5,000 and come outside and get a phone call and somebody want to hire you and give you a $20,000 advance. You see what I'm saying? But if you look at that person and say, that's supposed to be mine, I can't stand them, yin, 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 yin. See, right. And see the moon, then the moon looks at you and says, my child, this child doesn't have gratitude. So why, if this child can't celebrate somebody else's good fortune, then what is it going to do if I give it to them? Same thing for forgiveness. I heard you talking about forgiveness earlier. People hold a lot of grudges toward other people, and they don't realize they need to forgive themselves first. Most people that are holding a grudge are holding it against themselves for some reason that they've been holding on to. So during Moon Magic, we identify all of these areas come up. Everything comes up. People say, how does it come up? I say, don't worry about it. Just work the system. And as it comes up, we'll take care of it. And so I am just so happy that we're about to start a new program next week. Moon Magic opens up on the 8th of next week, and it starts on the 10th. So I always open it up a few days before it actually starts so people can sign up, and then they can come in and then go with it. Now, one more thing I want to say about Moon
I wanted
Magic.
to ask you a question.
Okay, sure. Go ahead. Go ahead.
50% of the people that attend your Moon Magic program have goals and does achieve them, there or more.
No. If you work the program 100%, you get the results.
Oh, okay.
It's not
everybody gets the results. The reason why I was asking because I have a life coach and I pay $100 a month for my life coach, and she experienced just great success in her life with her goals, And she calls me up. We once a month we meet, and she calls me up. Okay, so what have you done? Where are you at? This is with my radio program, because the whole purpose of the radio program is to make money, to sell your products, and to get speaking engagement. That's the bottom. Those are the three lines, And she does that, and it works for her. So I work with her. She calls me up. Okay, Albert, where are you at? Have you done 1, 2, and 3? And I was like, oh, well, no, I didn't log on this week. Okay, so you didn't do nothing this week, huh? Okay, so then at the end, we do like regroups. We come every 3 months. Okay, so how many hours are you spending in? Are you doing your blogs? Are you posting? Are you where is your book at? What page? How many chapters? And blah 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 blah. And I was like, oh well, you know what? You just not gonna believe what happened. She was like, yeah, whatever. This is your money. This is your life. And so where are you at? So I'm just imagining, I'm hearing your story, even though some things in life now I have been on top of, but with this particular one, I haven't done it. I haven't been so good with that. So I think the bottom line is that this is something that the individual person wants, right? And you gotta want this and then follow the steps. That's kind of number one, right?
One thing that I do differently in my coaching is I don't need to ask you what you've done. I've already given you 8 assignments to do, and you have 3.5 to 4 days to do them. And every phase gives you a reward. See, people are reward oriented, just like cats. Cats are reward oriented. When you reward a cat, you get more from it. So I don't go through and I don't have to discipline anyone, because life itself will discipline you. You talk to Dr. Maxwell Nardi today, your cells will reward you or your cells will retaliate. I have a system that has built-in rewards. So when you plan at the beginning of the month, and see, the thing is, I don't let you do 3 or 4 or 5 things. You can't come to me and say, oh, I want to do this month. I want to do this month. I say, no, kill it. 2 things. That's it. And really what I realized was when I shifted in Moon Magic to a 6-month term, like I don't let people come in just to do 1 month now. If they do 1 month, I charge them more. If they want to test it out, it costs more. You need to make a decision in your life that you're going to make a commitment, and 6 months is nothing for you to learn a new system. And one thing I realized over 5 years is people were coming to Moon Magic to take care of little patchwork things, but they did not know what their purpose in life was. They didn't know what their real purpose was. And that's why people's attention spans are so short when they get into one program over here. They get into Avon, then they get into Legal Shield, then they get into something else. They get into Empower Network. They get into all these multi-level marketings, or they're doing this idea for 3 months and this idea, and they never finish it because you know what? They don't know what their purpose in life is. So what I did was I made a change and modified the system. So your first goal when you come in is you're going to spend 28 days learning what your life purpose is. That's all. You're going to just find out what's your life purpose. Because if you go around, I want everybody listening to the show, and I want you to go around and ask 20 people today, have you ever spent 28 days on your life purpose? Just figuring it out. Some people say, well, I've been trying to figure it out my whole life. No. I know you have. But have you said, I'm going to dedicate 28 days to finding out what it is? That's it. And if anybody has a coach, because I like to tell people what to tell your coach works for you. Go to your coach and say, look, I want one thing this month and I want it bad. And if you can't tell them what the one thing that you want bad is, you're wasting your money, your time, and their time. You need to go and say, look, help me with this one thing I really want. And that's what I developed the system for, is what's the one thing I think everybody needs to know is what is your definite purpose? Because if you don't know your definite purpose, you are drifting. You are moving from one thing to another, to another, to another, to another, and you got a closet full of skeletons, and you got anxiety, and you feeling bad because you ain't got nothing done, and you sitting on top of all this stuff that you done gathered, but you ain't done nothing with it, and you just like, oh, and now your life looks like a hoarder. You look like a hoarder, and you ain't got your stuff together because you kept adding things, and you didn't need to add any things. You need to add some discipline, cut some things out, and put some focus in the pocus. I just say hocus pocus. Need to put some focus on you so you can get your mind and know what is my life purpose. And then let's look at this, Aubrey. Let's say somebody's 35 years old, 40 years old, and they find out what their life purpose is in 1 month. Look how much life you have left in front of you to live it, instead of stumbling and bumbling, trying to figure it out. Pull over. Sometimes you got to stop so you can start. Even, I don't care if you're 70 years old.
You have a person figure out what their life purpose is in 28 days.
That's why, it ain't no challenge to Coach K.
Okay.
How about that? How about that? It ain't no challenge to Coach K. You know why? I'm going to tell you something about Coach K. And my Aunt Maggie told me is no brag, just fact. Everything I teach, I live it first. I live it first. I live it for a year or two before I even show it to y'all. Some things I'm going to show y'all next year, I'm practicing right now. I'm not going to show you, just like Dr. Nardi did with symptometry. He worked on himself first before he brought it out to the public. So I've went through trial and error and trial and measure, heavy meditation. And like I said, I've been at the feet of some very, very, very wise masters who have imparted some things and given me permission to use them and how to craft this and finally put this together. And I don't, whether I cracked the code, I'm not going to say I cracked the code. I'm going to say the creator revealed it to me on how I was supposed to do it. And I'm following my assignment. But he told me, make sure people really want it. Make sure they really want it. That's why it's a private member area. You know, and some people said, oh, it should be $1,000 a month, because how much is it worth for you to know what your purpose in life is? That's what every billionaire knows their purpose in life. Every billionaire. And one of the ways, I will tell you, one of the secrets is I show people how to change their mindset. I show people how to start thinking like an enlightened being by giving them an example, a clear example. And I also introduce them to billionaire thinking. Billionaire thinking. There's a way billionaires think that's different than regular people who are struggling and living check to check. And it doesn't mean you have to be a billionaire, but if you think like one, think like one, think like the very successful, you have no choice but to be the very successful. And my life is a living testimony of that. In 2008, before I learned this system, I was just getting out of prison. Now it's 2015. I just spent 2 weeks on the West Coast. I was in Vegas twice, San Diego, Los Angeles for a week. I ate at all the nice restaurants, and I'm headed to Miami this week, and I'm headed to New York next week. I'm using the same system. I don't work for anybody. And my life is a testament that when you work a system and you get focused on it, that it will work for you. You see what I'm saying? So that's...
I wanted to ask a question though. I understand the law of attraction. I understand the whole laws and principle of manifesting, but it looks like there's somewhere in between. I got stuck. I sent a friend of mine just yesterday. I said, listen, I live on a $1 million piece of property. But my finances is like the life of a dope fiend. I pay myself $10 a month because there's so much going on around me that requires so much money, and I've not been able to rise to the occasion. And so then I go back to the first time, for example, when I pulled up into the front gate of this property, there was a sign hanging with my girlfriend. There was a sign hanging on out front, a real estate sign that says that this property was $495,000. And at the time, I was collecting unemployment. Obama had just gave us an extension. My credit score was about 576 or something like that. And I told my girlfriend, I just want to come up and check this property and stuff. This just, it looks nice, And so a friend of mine says to me, look, Aubrey, have you lost your mind? First of all, remember now, your credit score, for 590, you say, you haven't worked in 2 years, you don't have no bank account. And I said, yeah, but this property is something that I can use for my goals and for my dreams, not for me now. I said, I can just have, it's big enough and it's peaceful, it's serene, and I guess thousands of people can come here and realize their dreams too. So I think that, the creator and the universe wants me to have this. And so of course everybody around me thought that it was a joke, but it was a 2-year process, up and down, right in the midst of everything happening for me. Cash buyers came in, and so that was a big threat, but something happened with that. And at the end of the day, I end up with what I've always wanted for over a 30-year period of time. But then I come here and I still have the dreams. I'm still moving towards why I wanted to be here in the first place. But then all of a sudden it becomes so big. It's bigger than I am, and I got lost in the process. So with Moon Magic, how do I get back on course with the process, with the rituals, and with the dream?
You don't have your priorities in order. You can't have 6 number one priorities. That's the first thing. First thing you do in Moon Magic is by saying you only have 2 goals, then that's it. You're not going, because every month you let it overwhelm you because you have so many things to do, but you don't know. I'm going to teach you how to say, so what? See, you can't do everything on your to-do list. You're not supposed to, because when you write your to-do list out, you're supposed to let the creator come in and do some of the heavy lifting. Right now, you're trying to do all of the heavy lifting. When you just do 1 or 2 things and say, creator, you do the far greater. I'm going to do these 2 things right here, and you do the far greater. And you get out of the way. See, you're in the way of what the creator wants to do for you. You're in the way of the miracles that can happen for you because you're trying to figure out the how. You need a new system. You need someone to come in and say, no, you can't do all these things this month. What is the number one thing that needs to get done? Because I already hear, if I was on $1 million piece of property and I said I was paying myself $10 a month, living like a dope fiend, then I would have anxiety. So
yeah, right.
So the number one thing, right, but listen, you don't know the rules of money. So let me give you a rule of money. Money loves happy people. You're not happy. And you have surrounded yourself for some unfortunate way that you have people around you who are also unhappy. Guess what that is? Law of attraction. When you get happy and don't have any anxiety, you will start to attract people who are happy, who don't have any anxiety, and money loves them too. Money loves happy people. I don't know if you've ever heard of one of my mentors, Reverend Ike. He says money loves happy people. But when you start getting angry, money don't want to be around you. Money is like a sophisticated woman. If you don't know how to treat her, she will leave you. So one of your first things that I would suggest that you implement, because when people do their plan, they plan their goal out in a 2-sentence form and they email it to me. And then we go back and forth for 3 days to make sure we get it to something really simple that's going to stick like a sledgehammer, that you're comfortable with, that you can memorize, that's in 2 sentences. See, even right now when I'm telling you, you're getting scared because you're like,
no. Oh no, I'm not scared.
I got all these things I want to do though, Khayr, and you trying to tell me?
What I'm trying to tell you is that we had 50 minutes.
Okay.
And I'm at the end of my 50 minutes. So what I want you to do is I want you to tell the audience and leave with them how they can connect with you. When does the first Moon Magic session start? And how they can contact you and find out how they can be a part of that, including myself.
The website is www.moonmagic28.info, not .com, but moonmagic28.info. There's a video on there that just explains the entire system in like 6 or 7 minutes. Then there's a little bio. You can just read more about it. And then if you have any questions, you can just fill out the questionnaire form on the side, which will also subscribe you to my newsletter. Or if you're ready, you can join, but it doesn't open until the 8th because of March, which is what's that? 3 days from now. So it's 3 days from now it opens, and then we start on the 10th of March. So and it closes because you can't just join anytime. It closes on the 10, 11, 12, the 13th. No, the 12th is the last day. So you have from the 8th to the 12th to sign up. If you do not sign up between the 8th and the 12th of March, you have to wait until April to sign up.
Okay.
So you cannot come in when you want to come in. You have to come in at the beginning. If you miss the first cycle, you have to wait 7 more cycles to come in. I have people on the waiting list right now like, I'm ready, I'm ready. You can't sign up now. You cannot sign up until this program. And I look forward to your listeners coming in and joining. I look forward to you having an aha moment because you're going to be like, oh, what? Is this simple? Is it this simple?
So what we're going to do is that I also wanted the listeners to know that in addition to understanding the 8 phases of the moon, that you're also an astrologer, and that gives you insight not only how the moon works, but how the planet works in favor of whatever your goals and desires are. And I appreciate you taking the time to come and share this information with my listeners today. And we're going to have you come back and after, some of us get involved and manifest our goals, and then we'll come back and celebrate that.
I'm looking forward to that. And if anyone needs an astrology reading, you're not ready for Moon Magic, you can just find me at CoachKAstrology.info. CoachKAstrology.info for an astrological reading. And you can also just mention that you were on the show. And hey, I may even be able to show you a little bit of love. Tell me that you know Abra, and we'll see what's going on.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for being a part of the Naked Soul Radio Show today. Such good information. And I'm glad you kind of cleared things up with me as well. And in the meantime, you have an awesome week, and I'll talk to you later.
I will. Thank you so much.
Okay. Peace.
Peace. That was fun. I like being interviewed. I'm always doing my show.
Okay.
So, yes, I got it on mute so they can't hear me.
Jessica?
Yes, it's wonderful.
All right. So
all right. Yeah, y'all need to hear that background noise. So look, thank you for joining Coach Khayr today. While I get interviewed, most of the time I do the interviewing. I have a show on Blog Talk Radio Tuesday nights, every other Tuesday night, second and fourth Tuesday. I'm about to do a first and third Wednesday show, and I got a lot of things coming. Please just stay tuned. Subscribe to my channel. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can get all the updates. Go back and watch lots of things that I've done, and just whichever one suits you, please leave a comment below. Let me know if I can help you. If you got any questions or comments or feedback, leave them in the comments below, or you can send me an email at CoachKhayr@gmail.com, Khayr, CoachKhayr@gmail.com. Check out the site, CoachKhayr.com. If you're interested in Moon Magic, which starts on the 8th and opens on the 10th, opens on the 8th and starts on the 10th, and registration ends on the 12th. You can just go to moonmagic28.info. If you are interested in an astrological reading, I offer 3 types. Even on the website, I only got 1. I got to change that, but I've been really busy. If you want a 30-minute session, a 1-hour session, or a full reading is 2 hours, just let me know. If you join Moon Magic, you do get a discount on the astrological reading. So if you'd like to get an astrological reading and try Moon Magic out for 1 month, I do have that as well on the site. All right, and it's substantially at a special discounted price. So if that's something that you're interested in, just come on over to moonmagic28.info. If you just want to get an astrological reading, you can just put your information in first and I'll contact you, because I want to set up the time and make sure I can work within your schedule and give you exactly what you're looking for. All right. I've had a great time on the show. Thank you all so much for viewing me and checking me out. I had a ball. I always do. But, oh, full moon's in Pisces today, baby. Yeah. 15 degrees. Yes. Full moon's at 15 degrees. Let me see. Is it the full moon right now? I like this. I love this app on my phone. Like, this is the current chart. Like, this is what it looks like. I'm not going to do all the explaining, but we were on the show during the full moon. The full moon got here about 10 minutes ago. Yes. Bam! I love it. So we're in the full moon now. Full moon's in Pisces. Big shouts out to all you Pisces out there. Big shouts out to all you Virgos too. Who's this squaring? I could just go on. I want to go into what's today's forecast, right? Okay. I'm gonna try to do this in like 3 minutes because I got a lot of things to do today. Let me just pull out my board, right? I've ever seen one of these. Wow. This is today's weather. The planets in green are my planets. The planets in purple are today's weather. So if I'm going to, wow, how would I, okay. First thing to do is put the moon at 16 degrees. By now. So I moved the moon, which is right here. Oh, no, the moon is in Pisces, brother. Oh no, it's a full moon in Virgo. Excuse me. Yeah, because the sun's in Pisces. I had that wrong. Pardon me. Slight mistake. So if you can see, can you see where it says Virgo right here? This is the sign of Virgo. Here's the moon. And the sun is directly across in Pisces. There's a lot going on in Pisces today. Sun is in Pisces. Chiron's in Pisces. North Node's in Pisces. Neptune's in Pisces. And all of that is squaring Saturn. Saturn is in Sagittarius right now. So this energy is letting you know that get the work done. You're getting the stability to come out of the mind, because the Pisces always want to be in the mind. They want to be in the dreamy state. They want to be, maybe somewhat in an illusionary state or fantasy land. So Saturn is over here in Sagittarius, and you see the square to Pisces. There's no planets in Gemini, so Pisces is not squaring. The sun is not squaring anything today. The moon is also squaring, spin around. The moon is also squaring Saturn, which is stabilizing your emotions. If you've been through some type of emotional state lately, or you're feeling really emotional, this will help you like govern them and keep them in order. Moon in Virgo. Virgo is all about getting things done, serving other people. So you may be emotional about taking care of somebody else or a health concern for yourself, because Virgo is also the sign of health. But with the square to Saturn, that's going to, it could give you a challenge, but it also is going to stabilize. You always look at squares as stabilizers, and it stabilizes the emotions. And with the South Node there, this is all about life path. You're going to be revisiting some things that have maybe affected you karmically in past lifetimes, and where you're going right now. because anytime you deal with the South Node, you're also dealing with the North Node. So that is all about life progression. Some people call it Kabbalistic astrology. I say it's your spiritual destiny and your spiritual past. That's the moon and the sun. Where's Mercury at? I know some of you were wondering about this last Mercury retrograde. So Mercury is now coming through Aquarius. Mercury is either in front of or behind the sun, because Mercury moves really, really fast. It's going to catch up with the sun and eventually be in front of it, but not today. Today it's in Aquarius. So your thoughts, which is Mercury, and Aquarius is I know. So you're really going to be wanting to learn things today and really be in tune with your thinking. You may have some great ideals that are revolutionary, because Aquarius is the revolutionary. Don't blow anything up today. Aquarius is also a planet sign of explosions, right? Mercury is not squaring anyone. He's not trining anyone either. He's having a sextile to Mars and Uranus and Venus, though, which is good business. Any planets that are separated by 60 degrees are sextiling one another. So a Mars-Mercury sextile, Mars is action and it's passionate and it's how we get things done. So this is a good aspect between Mercury and Mars today. All sextiles are good aspects. They're like benevolent or lucky aspects. So this is going to be going on for a couple of days, probably for the rest of I would give it about a week, 10 days that you're going to have this particular sextile happening. And some people say it's only sextiling by degree, but in cosmophysics, we say it's sextiling by sign, okay? So then you have the Uranus-Mercury sextile. That's interesting, because these are freedom and revolution and evolution with Uranus. And once again, Uranus rules Aquarius. So Mercury is paying rent to Uranus right now. So I'm sure they're having a great conversation. Utilize these transcending thoughts that are coming to you nowadays. And Venus, the sign of relationships, is in Aries. Just that by itself is, you may be feeling a little more frisky. If you are an Aries sun, if you are an Aries, or if you are a Leo, or if you're a Sagittarius, then you're probably feeling a little friskier with Venus and Aries right now, because these are your fire signs. If you are an air sign, such as Libra is opposing Aries, and then you have Gemini and Aquarius. Oh, yes, Gemini and Aquarius. This action is another sextile. So my Geminis, my Aquariuses, my Libras, y'all are feeling this love energy today as well, but it may be kind of like a competitive love, right? So look, if you want me to go further, because I really don't, I can do general, but I like doing more specifics and like look at your planet and how it affects you. That's like on the inside. These green planets are me. So I look at my daily weather and I see what's squaring for me or what's trining for me. So if you want to get a reading, if you're in the Atlanta area, I will set this up for you. We'll sit down. You'll be on the other side. I'll make this very plain to you. It's really easy once someone explains it to you. But now I'm just going to go look at what I got going on today by seeing what I got trining, what I have squaring what. I love these boards right here. I think I may put this in the comment section where you can order one of these if you are an astrologer or you're wanting to learn astrology. Let this be a birthday present for your children, or a Christmas present, or whatever the next holiday is coming up. The winter equinox, the spring equinox is coming up. Treat yourself, don't cheat yourself. All right. This has been Coach Khayr. Like I said, if you would like to get a reading, just go to CoachKastrology.com. It doesn't matter where you're at. You don't have to be in Atlanta. You can be in South Africa or the UK. I have clients like all over the world. I really love helping people like wherever they're at. So one love. Thank you for watching today. Thank you for tuning in. Share this with a friend. Can you post this on Twitter for me? Can you post this on Instagram? Can you put this on your Facebook page and let somebody watch it? Even if you're catching the replay, can you post this for me on your timeline, either on Twitter or Facebook or Pinterest? I'd appreciate it. A lot of people may need this information. Maybe one thing I've said. And please, in the comment section below, tell me one thing that I said today that helped you. Anything. I want to know whether this was helpful or what could I have done to make it more helpful. All right. I appreciate you so much. Thank you and peace. I'm outie.